Hello model engineers. Right, today what I want to do is try and fire up a coal fired boiler, 5-inch vertical fire tube boiler, showing it done from start, from lighting the fire to raising pressure to run a steam engine. It seems from what I can see that on the internet there's quite a bit of interest in coal firing boilers, but there doesn't seem to be a great lot of information about it. There's one or two videos on YouTube and bits in various forums, but there doesn't seem to be a lot showing the entire process, from literally chucking the paper in and lighting a match to generating steam to run an engine. So that's what I'll do today, and we'll see how it goes. There is a little bit of a knack to it, and sometimes I've got the knack and sometimes I haven't, so we'll see how it goes, but it should be a little bit of fun for 15-20 minutes, something like that. Before I do that, firstly I thought I'd show this little thing. It's my little replica number 4 engine, Stuart number 4 engine that I've been building, part bar stock, part castings. It's now taking shape. Give it a lick of paint. It still needs a bit more, another coat once I've done a bit more to it. The valve chassis isn't on yet, obviously. That's taken off the painting, and there's an additional pulley to make, an outrigger pulley to put on there. But it's coming along nicely, and I'd like to think I'll have it finished in maybe a week or two. So watch this space, see how that develops. One other thing I've been up to is, bearing in mind that the little Stuart number 4 is almost complete, what I want to do during the summer is try and design and build my own fairly big horizontal steam engine. Now, when I say fairly big, I mean perhaps about 2.5 inches bore and maybe about 3.5-4 inches stroke. I think it'll be a relatively simple design, but I'll design it myself and make it myself and see how it goes. At the moment the plans are very much in my head, but I'm working on things. Now, in order to make this engine, I've bought myself a couple of decent sized flywheels that hopefully will be of use. These two, they're about 8 inches in diameter and about 2 inches wide, so they're fairly heavy. They seem to be quite nicely made. Just wants a little bit of a clean up, and obviously that one's yet to be machined. Whether I'll use both or whether I'll just use one, I don't yet know. We'll have to see. Like I said, the plans are still in my head at the moment, so. But hopefully, even with one, they're quite substantial wheels. You should be able to build a decent sized engine with them. Okay, so right, back to the boiler. Right, what I'm going to use is a 5-inch diameter vertical fire tube boiler, which, for those that don't know, bearing in mind this video is aimed at beginners, is very similar to this little boiler. This is perhaps about 2.5 inches in diameter, but the one I'm going to use is very much similar in operation, in principle. Now, by fire tube, that means there's tubes running up through the water vessel all the way through. In this case there's 8 plus a central flue, say 9 tubes, which of course give an additional heating area. So although this little boiler is small, it does have quite a good surface heating area, so it's quite efficient for its size. It doesn't hold a lot of water, and obviously it boils quick, so it needs constant filling up, but it's a good little steam producer. The one I'm going to use, as I say, the 5-inch one, has 51 fire tubes, so obviously it's more peppered with holes in the top. But the principle is the same, other than one slight difference I suppose I should mention is the boiler I'm going to use is equipped with a wet firebox. That is to say that when the boiler is sat above the coals will be here obviously, this surrounding area, the sides of the firebox, are encasing a jacket of water, thin jacket of water, perhaps about, I don't know, 5-10 millimeters thick jacket of water, which of course gives a lot of extra heating surface in contact with the glowing coal, so it significantly increases the efficiency. This one is a bit simpler, so it's just solid copper. It's not a jacket of water. But other than the firebox being a wet firebox on the boiler, I'm going to use the principle is pretty much the same. What you'll find when you watch me do it is, because it's quite an efficient boiler, as I say, with 51 fire tubes, it boils steam rapidly, but of course it means it goes through a lot of water and coal for that matter. You'll find that when I fire it up and get some decent pressure up, it's pretty much a full-time job, even on a little boiler, just keeping it fed with coal and water. One thing I want to do actually is, because filling it with water it is a bit of a bind hand pumping it, this little engine here, this number 4 Stewart, may well end up permanently coupled up to the boiler, driving a feed pump of some description, so that will make running the boiler on coal a bit easier hopefully, but we'll see how it goes with that once the engine's complete. What I'll do when I connect up the boiler outside in a minute, I'll connect it up this little engine, just sort of to give the boiler something to do rather than just steam it up for nothing, and that will also allow me to feed the exhaust steam up the boiler chimney, which helps to give additional draft when coal firing. You'll find that when using coal you need a good airflow. Initially you need an artificial draft up the chimney with an electric blower. Then once you start getting it partly established, you can switch it over to a steam blower, which directs a jet of steam up the chimney to maintain a draft while getting rid of the electric blower. Then eventually you'll get it up to fully established and be able to run a steam engine and use the exhaust to provide the draft. But you'll find when I show you what I'm doing, you do need a real good flow of air for coal firing. I know of 1 or 2 people that have been experimenting with a small boiler, 2.5, 3 inches, I think, 3-inch diameter maybe. One lad in particular, he's made a lovely little boiler, but he's finding it a bit of a struggle on coal. Personally, my own view is anything less than about 4 inches diameter is always going to be a struggle. I'm not saying it's impossible by any means, but in my opinion you really need a 4-inch boiler for coal firing. But anyway, what I'll do, I'll connect this little fella up to the boiler outside and get me coal and wood and whatever ready, and I'll see you in 5 minutes. Okay, so this is the setup now that I've got it piped up. I've got the boiler connected to the little engine and the engine's exhaust running up the chimney to give a bit of additional draft. Little water tank with a hand pump just to keep it topped up. It works okay as a hand pump, but it becomes a little bit of a bind when it's using a lot of water. It's something you have to keep doing very often. So the sooner I get some sort of mechanised pump, the better. The all important cup of tea. Must remember to drink the tea and put the water in the boiler, not the other way around. plentiful supply of coal and wood. The coal, incidentally, is small chunks of Welsh coal. They're about, I suppose, about 10mm across. They work well. They give out a good supply of heat. They take a little bit of time to get going sometimes, and they do need a good airflow, but they do burn nicely though. The other little thing I've got is a electric blower. This little thing is just a glorified electric fan. It sits on the top of the chimney to give a bit of additional draft when it's starting. The batteries are a little bit low on power. I probably should have put some new batteries in it really, but they should be enough to get us started, and hopefully I won't need it on for too long. So I'll set about getting the fire going. What I'll do is use a bit of paper soaked in a little bit of meth on the shovel, just to throw into the boiler and give it a little bit of a start. So we'll do that now. Right, despite what I said a couple of minutes ago, I've decided to put some new batteries in the electric blower. It probably would have worked as it was, but it seems pointless going to the trouble of setting the camera up and getting it all ready just to find that it won't work because of a simple battery. So I'll stick that on the top of the chimney for now, switched off. What I'm going to use as an electric lighter is this MAP gas torch, just to get me fuel started in the shovel. It's a bit of overkill, but it will work. Right, I've now turned the blower on, so you can see it's drawing up the chimney. You have to forgive me if I keep getting in front of the camera, but I think there's not a lot I can do really. Initially I like to keep the fire door a little bit open, just to ensure there's a real good healthy airflow while it's getting established. And touch wood, it seems to be taking hold. Now ideally I want it up to perhaps about £20 on the gauge to start running it on the steam blower and dispense with the electric blower. So obviously we're still at the steam blower, but hopefully we'll get some movement in a few minutes. When using wood, it's not always that easy to get it evenly distributed in the firebox. They're sort of long and thin, and you can't really sort of angle them round it. It's a bit easier with coal because, of course, with coal you've got a shovel and you can, put it where you want it. But with wood, it always seems to end up in the bloody centre. But we're winning anyway. In fact, I'll zoom in a little bit on the firebox. still got nothing on the pressure gauge yet, but it's early days, so there we are. And the water gauge is about 3/4 full. Initially I don't like it much higher than that, because it means that when you turn the steam blower on, you tend to get a lot of water up the chimney at first. Where it is now seems to be about ideal. Sometimes it might look as though I'm putting wood in a fire that's gone out, but it's just the camera angle. A lot of the fire is down below, and the bottom, well, the grate is probably about there. So there's quite a bit of fire inside that you can't actually see. Let's shut the door out. So we've got a healthy supply of smoke coming out the chimney with using the blower. Possibly some gurgling, that's a promising sign. I've obviously got the blower valve open, or got the engine valve open. Yeah, shut it off. But that's a good sign. It means the water's actually doing something inside. Now that it's getting a little bit more damage, I can keep the fire door closed. Right, I'll just refocus and whatever. So the camera was only off for a few seconds, but the gauge is now starting to move. You can probably see it's around about 15-20 pounds pressure. I'll leave it in that setting for a moment. The fire is nicely burning now. You can possibly even see the pressure gauge moving in real time if you just look very closely at the needle. It's about 30 now. I think you'll agree it's gone past 30, so you can actually see it moving in real time. Let's put a bit more coal on, wood on, and then I'll wean it onto coal. Right, I've now taken the electric blower off, and I'll start the steam blower. So Here we go. Watch what happens up the chimney. So I'm now creating my own draft up the chimney using the steam supply. Which of course saves on battery power, but it means I'm using water. We've now got about £60 on the gauge, so we're building up nicely. I've got a decent supply of wood fire in there now, so I think it's time to start putting a bit of coal on. And for this, you can't rush it, you've got to do a bit at a time. One to the left and one to the right. Trying to blow her up a little bit. Possibly see now that the gauge is, well, it's nearly at 90. That's with the blower open. A bit more wood. Put some more wood on, so I've turned the blower up quite high to get it established. I'll pump a bit of water in. Right. So this is where it requires a bit of a knack. I've still got £60 of pressure and a decent supply of water with a decent fire going, but I'm trying to get it around coal now. I only want a little bit. The pressure's still climbing. £70, £80 maybe. So dial the blower back a little bit. As you see, it's the valve blowing at 90. Let's run the engine to use up a bit of my steam. So that's giving a good draft up the chimney now with the engine running. What it's doing to the fire. Fucking healthy. More coal. So I'm still maintaining quite a good pressure, just short of 90 with the engine running, and I'm still feeding the blower a little bit as well. The blower is dialed back though because the engine's doing a lot of the drafting. A little bit more coal. And it's nicely taking hold now. So I need to put a bit more water in. Just a bit though, because I don't want to lose any pressure. Still at, well, close to 90, 80, 90. Let's look at the fire. Yeah, we're doing nicely there. engine pounding along, good pressure. Water's a little bit on the low side, so I'll top that up now, but it's not dangerously low yet. I just need to be a bit mindful of it, so let's chuck a bit more water in. And a bit more coal. Crank the blower up there because I've put a lot of coal on, so I want to get that established now. Let's have a look at the fire. That's looking great. That's the blower off, and all I've got now is the engine powering the draft. And I've got me full pressure, 90 pounds. Just to give you some idea how much this thing drinks, at full pressure, the engine's running at a decent rate. I've got about a third of a boiler full. So watch how quick I have to pump to keep the water up. Bearing in mind the blower is off. See, I'm pumping it like mad now, and I'm gradually filling it up, but I'm really only just about keeping up with it. I say the blower is fully off. But I'm able to maintain 90 pound of pressure with the engine running like mad and filling it up with water. In fact, my safety valve is blowing off. Still pumping water in and I'm struggling to keep up with it. See, with the door open, the pressure's dropped a little bit. It's down to about 65, but it'll soon build up, even though I'm pumping water in. turn the blower on just to get some pressure back up. And you can see I've got the should give me a chance now to catch up on the water a little bit. So as you can probably tell, I've been pumping away at it like mad now. I'm only just keeping up with it. It's only at the bottom. So what I'll do is just knock the engine and the blower off just for a little while, just to get some water built up. See my pressure is dropping now because there's no blower, no engine, and I'm putting water in. I'm still up to about 60 though. A bit up here now. I've got close to a full tank of water. I'll give the floor a little bit of a blast just to get some pressure back up. We're climbing above 60 now. It's from the engine. So I'm in a lot better position now. I've got a full tank of water now. So I'm kind of where I want to be really. I'm sitting pretty now. Engine running. Good fire, good pressure, good supply of water. What I'll do, I'll show you the inside of the firebox, and then what I'll do, just temporarily, just for perhaps over 30 seconds, I'll put the blower on, you can see what difference it does to the fire. Okay, at the moment we've got full head of pressure. Let's have a look at the fire. You probably can't see it. It might even look like it's out, but I can assure you it isn't. I'll stick the blower on and watch how it comes back to life. actually see it better now. It's a good healthy fire. Right, just briefly before I wrap up, just one thing I wanted to show is how efficient it is. I've got about £55 on the gauge, 50-55, you might just about be able to see. The engine's running at a fair rate of knots. I've got about half a tank of water, and you should be able to see that even though the engine's running like mad, I'm still creating pressure. The blower is off, so the only thing that's drafting the boiler now is the engine exhaust. But as you can see, I'm going to reach £90 no problem. So effectively this boiler on coal can maintain £90 of pressure and run an engine, albeit a small engine. And of course it's thirsty and you need to put a lot of coal in it, but it's great fun. Incredible, look, £90, still going. Take a quick look at the fire. Well, that's enough excitement for today. I'm letting it run down now. I think what I'll do is have a cup of tea, let it all cool down, dismantle it and nip inside. So anyway, it's kind of quite successful, I thought, so okay. Right, back indoors now, so hopefully that was of interest to some people. Admittedly, I was firing the engine a little bit on the hard side, trying to keep the pressure up and whatever. And ordinarily, I wouldn't need to do it as much as that. But I thought, nevertheless, it gives people a bit of an idea of kind of what's involved with coal firing and what can be achieved. I'm no expert at it. It's something that requires a bit of a knack that gradually I'm getting better at, and hopefully over the summer with the warm weather outside, I'll get a bit more practice in and get better at it. But it's great fun if you've never used a coal-fired boiler. It's worth considering getting one. It is very messy, I must admit. It's a bit of a palaver, and obviously it takes a lot longer and whatever, but it is really good fun. So all being well, shortly when this thing's finished, I'd like to see how well this shapes up on the 5-inch boiler. I would think, seeing what the boiler can do on coal, I think it'll power this engine with no trouble at all at a high speed and still maintain pressure. But we'll have to see how it goes once I get it connected up. Maybe perhaps next week. I think next week or the week after maybe. So if that was of interest to you, I'm pleased about that. And anyway, looking again, and if you're interested in seeing how this one shapes up on coal. Okay, thanks very much. Bye for now.